Coming up on this episode of the Hitstreak.
A lot of people have been in business for a lot of years, and they're still paying way too much in taxes. And they don't know they're paying too much because they don't know to ask.
Every child deserves a chance to learn, grow, and lead without money standing in the way. The Highland Scholars Fund, founded by Matt Theriot, helps students access elite private schools through life-changing scholarships. It's about more than education. It's about opportunity, equity, and empowering kids to rise without leaving their friends or dreams behind. Give with purpose, fund a legacy. Book a call to learn more, or visit hsfnola.com to join the mission. A smile can do more than brighten a face. It can rebuild a life. Smiles for Recovery is a nonprofit restoring confidence and dignity for individuals recovering from substance use by providing free, compassionate dental care. Addiction often causes serious dental damage, leading to pain, isolation, and lost opportunities. Smiles for Recovery changes that. Through a growing network of volunteer dental professionals, they offer cleanings, extractions, and full restorations, empowering people to re-enter the workforce, reconnect with loved ones, and literally rebuild their lives. Every single smile tells a story of healing, strength, and second chances. You can be a part of that story. Whether you're a dentist, a donor, or someone who believes in second chances, your support changes lives. Visit smilesforrecovery.org to learn more and get involved. Together, we're restoring smiles and renewing lives. Whoa. Check this out. Some of the world's biggest success stories started with nothing. Just grit, hustle, and a story worth hearing. So if you've clawed your way up, if you've built something out of nothing, if you've got a story that people need to hear, folks, this is your shot. The Hitstreak isn't just a podcast. It's a platform not just for top performers, it's also a platform that takes real stories from underdogs, builders, and dreamers, and it puts them on the map. Your story, your brand, your breakthrough. Apply now to be a guest. We'll put you in front of millions of viewers worldwide. You'll get pro-level content, high-level exposure, and a seat at the table with people who've been there and made it out. I'm not only looking for polished top performers. I'm looking for real stories from real people. If you've been through the fire and came out stronger, you belong on this show. Apply now. This is your moment. Email management@nickhyder.com or comment or DM the word Hitstreak to apply. The Hitstreak is where rags to riches stories have been told, and the next one could be yours. Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, I've got an extra special treat joining me in the Hit Lab today. Somebody I'm extremely excited to introduce you guys to, somebody that I actually met at an event last year that I spoke at, and I've been a fan ever since, folks. Check it out. He's the chairman and founder of the Matt Theriot Foundation and the Highland Scholars Fund. The man himself, Matt Theriot, is in the building. Matt, how we doing, baby?
Oh, doing great, man. Can't believe I'm actually sitting in the Hit Lab with you. Love Nashville. Been a fan of yours ever since we met a little over a year ago. Just great to be here.
Well, Matt, I want to kind of get right into something right out of the gates here, because when you hear the founder's story, a certain founder's story, when you hear the heart behind a mission, it changes things. And I've had the honor of hearing the story and the heart behind your mission. As a matter of fact, when you met my partner David this morning, you told him a little bit about it, and it got me all over again, right? So talk to me a little bit about the mission, the heart behind this, the Highland Scholars Fund.
Yeah, so January 2024, couple days after New Year's, I get a text from my friend, and she says, "Hey, I don't know if you've heard, but Burnell died. Stories on the news. If you want to, I know y'all were good friends." And I was like, "Burnell? Like, man, I haven't talked to him in like a decade. Like, probably the last time I saw him was at a high school reunion or something." And so I'm like, go to the internet, and sure enough, Burnell died in a car crash over the weekend. 47 years old, survived by his wife and his 2 kids. And, he's one of the guys that we ate lunch together for 5 years, 8th grade through all the way through high school, sat at the same benches, had the same, 4 or 5 group of friends. And it really hit me. I was like, man, he's exact same age as I am.
Wow.
And I couldn't imagine, if anything happened to me, what would happen to my wife and kids?
Yeah.
And so I went to his funeral, and he was a lineman for the local energy company. Loved the hurricane because it was a chance to like get out and survey damage and like start putting stuff back together. His wife would tell me about that. And so I go to his funeral, and it's 2 energy trucks, and they have this huge American flag. And like there's a line to get into the church. And I was just really overwhelmed because I've been to a number of funerals. I've never been to a funeral with that many people. And I was like, man, I wonder if anybody would even like show up at mine.
Wow.
So, about 2 months later, I'm at the program's EV event in Las Vegas at Bradley's place where we first met. And Nick Hyder, the founder of the program, comes up to me and asks me, he goes, all right, what's your goal the next 90 days? I'm like, you already know this, but I want to double my business in 90 days. And he goes, why?
There it is.
I got a wife. I got 7 kids. I have about 6 of them through college, a couple $1 million in debt. And I've been struggling. He goes, yeah, that's not really a good enough reason for me to help you. So he says,
I love Alfano.
Yeah, he really changed my life. He's like, take money off the table. What's the next thing you do? And it didn't even take me 10 seconds. I'm like, I'd start a foundation for my kids, for my friends' kids. And I'd make sure that they get to finish high school with their friends. And then their mom would never have to worry about another tuition payment again. They said, he goes, all right, that's a worthy goal. I'll help you with that. And I said, deal. And it was life-changing. And, thing about that was the first time one of my sons had ever traveled with me for business. So my 23-year-old son is sitting directly behind me and hears me make this deal. And he knows where my business is at. And it's like up until that point that, a new business venture, like our revenue wasn't even $10,000. And I was still struggling asking relatives to help pay tuition for my own kids. So it was, and then I agreed to 3% of everything I made was going to go into this foundation. So 3/1/2024, that was the day.
Wow. Well, it's again, first of all, thank you for sharing that. That can't be easy. And it probably doesn't get easier the more times you do it either. It's probably one of the few things.
No, it doesn't. I've told that story 100 times, and I still get choked up about it.
Before you even say the first word, man, that's incredible. Well, Matt, congratulations on everything you've done so far. I'm serious. Just because of the reason that you do it, it's going to work. It's going to win. It's going to grow. It's going to change things just because the mission's that strong. And so that's fantastic. Now, without taking everybody through too big of a cultural change here, I'm about to ask another question, which is going to be a little bit of a totally different dynamic here. All right. So if you're watching with us today, Matt stands out when you meet him before he ever says a word, because you remember a kilt when you see one. And he's wearing one today, folks. He's wearing one today. So tell me a little bit of the story behind the kilt.
So that day I made the deal with Alfano. I was thinking about it that night. I'm like, I've been in business for 25 years. I've been in finance for 25 years. I know how to set up companies. I can start a foundation, 501c3, you name it. And the biggest thing I struggled with, I was like, well, how do you get people to remember what your mission is? And so, I thought back to the funeral, and they said, they set up a GoFundMe, said, don't send flowers, make a donation so, the kids can continue their education. But the reality of that is that, that's great in the moment and it's great for the first month, maybe 2 months, but then people forget. People forget how hard it is with two parents working to send a kid to a private school. So I had dreamt up that night. I was like, all right, I'm going to call this the Highland Scholars Fund. Mm-hmm. And every client I meet from here on out is going to receive basically an ultimatum. And every meeting I show up to, I'm going to show up in a kilt, in this shirt. It says COG. And one of the things it stands for is cost of greatness, but impact over income. And every one of my clients is going to know that the reason I get up in the morning, the reason I still take on new clients is to perpetuate this foundation. So every client I have, the deal is, I'm really good at what I do. I'll make you money. But every year I want a donation of 1 week's worth of whatever I produce for you as a donation to this scholarship fund. Or we don't do business together. Because you'd violate my number one rule in business. And if you can't get rid of those terms, we can't keep talking.
That's cool. Have you ever had any pushback on that? I can't imagine you did.
What's not really pushback. I've had a couple of guys that we're dickheads and sorry, we ain't working together. Because number one rule, by the way, is the NDH rule. That's the no dickhead rule. Mm-hmm. So if you're that difficult, I don't care how much money you got. You're not worth it.
That's right. Well, there's a cost to doing business, and that cost can be a lot of different things, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, so we've heard about the Highland Scholars Fund. Tell me a little bit, like the Matt Theriot Foundation. When was that formed in regards to the Highland Scholars Fund?
So those were kind of formed simultaneously.
Okay.
And I call it the Matt Theriot Foundation. So outside of South Louisiana, my last name is Theriot, but you spell it Theriot.
Yep.
And all my clients outside of South Louisiana know me as Matt Theriot because 15, 20 years ago, I was a speaker on stage, and a guy making all the introductions took my business card and, could pronounce Theriot, butchered about 4 times. He goes, all right, so you're Matt Theriot. I'm like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And then about 60 seconds later, he's on stage going, all right, everybody from New Orleans, we got Matt Theriot here. He's going to be our next speaker. There were brokers from Florida to Montana. And that was all she wrote. After every office I walked into after that, you're just like, oh, you're Matt, you're the Riot.
That's right, which is a compliment, by the way. That guy's a riot, man. That's a good thing.
So, yeah. So I stuck with it and I kept it. So we formed them simultaneously. So the foundation is kind of like it's a 501c3, the parent company, if you will. And within that, we have the Highland Scholars Fund with the thought of when a lot of clients ask me what I was doing and if I was going to do it for other schools, could we do this, could we do that? I wanted to set something up to where if they wanted to perpetuate their own legacy or, help start a fund for their school or something like that, they'd have a place to put it. And we'd have a vehicle for them to use without having to go through the nightmare of setting one of these things up. Because, the IRS application is 38 pages.
Oh, yeah.
And, you don't think that it's hard to give away money, but it really is.
That's right.
So.
That's right. All right. So all this was founded, if I'm hearing you right, in 2024. Mm-hmm. So as a matter of fact, it's not even a year old yet.
Right.
Is that right? Okay, so talk to me about what you were doing before that and how you got into all this stuff.
So, been in finance for 25 years. Started out working with independent planners. Went to work for an insurance company as a wholesaler. So basically, I go to your big stockbrokers and work with their clients on estate planning, complex tax issues, and strategies and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff I really fell in love with.
Okay.
And started my own consulting company and had some really long-term clients. And then had some other opportunities to do private placements, private equity. And it's been ever since the first year I started that, it was kind of a struggle.
Yeah.
And, first week was great. Legacy clients gave me a bunch of money. Next year was like pulling teeth. And then the real, I guess you could say, Hitstreak came when I changed, what the company was about. And it wasn't about making money more. It was about seeing how many kids can I put through school.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody that's good people can get behind a good mission. Hi, folks. I'm your man, Nick Hyder, and I just want to say a quick thank you for all of you, the millions of you tuning into the Hitstreak. If you have not already, subscribe to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Share your favorite episodes with your friends, your team, literally whoever needs a lift. We've built a worldwide audience of millions, and we're just getting started. Every episode, we're breaking down the playbook of top performers so that you can get to that next level too. We're literally getting the information from the people that have it to the people that need it by bringing on guests that everybody knows and some that not everybody knows yet. So again, thank you for being a part of this movement. Keep listening, keep sharing, and keep leveling up with the Hitstreak. So tell me a little bit about your personal life, right? So you got a village that you're raising at your house. How many, like you have a full orchestra, a whole band?
We've been married for 25 years, got 7 kids. Started out, tried to go in the military, did the Air Force for 2 years, the Army for 2 years, got 2 knee surgeries. So moved back home, starting and dated a ballerina who convinced me to become a dance instructor. Mm-hmm. And I was like, honey, I don't think you know what I've done for the last 2 years. She goes, no, you got great rhythm. You'll be great at it. It's like, yeah, I can march. Well, apparently I was really good at it. So started teaching dance for a ballroom studio, which evolved into getting into swing and Latin in the late 90s. That was real big.
Yeah.
Club owners started paying me to come teach an hour before the band started.
Okay.
And one day I'm walking into a event at the Pavilion Hotel. It's like 5-star chandeliers, beautiful hotel. And there's this girl sitting at the end of the bar in like a classic 40s blue dress, stunning. Asked her to dance. Turns out she liked me enough to came to one of my classes. She asked me, she goes, I'm just curious, how old are you? I said, well, that's a personal question. How old are you? Mm-hmm. She goes, I'm 25. I said, well, let's just say I'm not quite 30 and we'll leave it at that. And we did. About a week later, we started dating. 2 weeks later, we decided to get married. About 3 days before we get married, she was filling out our marriage license. She's like, oh, what's your birth date? And she's writing it in. I'm like, uh-oh. And she writes in her birth date, and then she stops, and she looks at me, and she goes, exactly how old are you? I'm like, well, honey, the day before we get married, I'll be 23. So, she's like, she says you're not quite 30, and I'm not for another 8 years.
That's right.
So we got married in December 99, and we basically got a flight to a cruise to Jamaica, got married, and on Christmas Eve, I walked into my grandmother's house, and I introduced my family to my new spouse.
That's cool. What'd they say?
Well, my family was very loud, but in that moment, you could hear a pin drop.
Okay.
So it was kind of funny.
Did they take you out back and be like, Matt, what in the world are you doing?
Oh yeah, nobody gave us 6 months.
All right.
I was convinced they had a pool going.
Was there a pool going?
I never really found out. So, but yeah, it was funny because I had an uncle who'd been dating the same girl for 6 years, and she looked at him and was like, "Man, he's dead." So, but yeah, it was within a month. My wife was pregnant. Had our first kid in 2099. So since then, had 3 boys in a row, 3 girls in a row, and a tiebreaker's a boy.
All right.
So 12 to 24.
So at my house, my wife and I are still playing man-to-man defense. You've been in a zone defense for a while.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me, he goes, look, man, once you go from man-to-man to zone, like 3, 5, 6, 10, it doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Got it. What does, so how old are your kids now as we sit today?
So,
top to bottom, oldest, youngest, what's the biggest gap?
So oldest is 24.
Okay. So some of them are not at home anymore.
Yeah. So Matthew's getting married in a couple months. And then my youngest is 12.
Congratulations, Matthew. So 24 and 12. So how many of them still live at home now?
Everybody except the oldest.
What does your grocery bill look like? I got a 16-year-old, and he eats about a gazillion dollars worth of groceries every week.
Oh yeah. Well, Walmart grocery store delivers to our house probably every other day.
All right.
So it's a small mortgage.
Yeah, man, it is. Well, it's, again, 7 kids. It's incredible. You still got all your hair still looking good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, I know, dude, 2 kids is a challenge, and every person's different. But like 7, one of my dad's best friends, his wife, him and his wife had 5 kids, and they just celebrated like 62 or 63 years married or something like that literally a couple of days ago. And I'm like, not only is it incredible that you were married that long, but that you raised that many kids and still stayed married and whatnot. I mean, it's a true testament. It's hard, man. It is hard because you only got one person to blame when things ain't going good at your house, and that's your spouse. You know what I mean? That's the only one other place to look.
Yeah, fortunately for me, I married way over my head.
Well, what's the special dynamic? What's the secret sauce that keeps you guys, like, you know, some people, their husband's got a bank account, wife's got a bank account, and then they got a joint one they both contribute to for stuff. Like, everybody structures their household differently. I'm fascinated with how people do it in the most dire of circumstances, which I would say 7 kids, there's probably a fire burning somewhere at all times.
Pretty much, there's always a little bit of drama going on. And I ask my wife all the time, I'm like, you know, when we got married, I was a college student, I was working part-time, and I was broke. And she is really, really smart, like graduated first in her class, worked for the Federal Reserve Bank.
Wow.
Yeah, senior analyst. And like, I don't know what you saw in me, but thank God you saw it, because I didn't see it in myself.
Yeah.
And I tell my kids, I tell my boys especially all the time, you know, the person you marry is the biggest determining factor of your success.
If you don't have success at home, you ain't gonna have it elsewhere. That's my belief.
Yeah, so especially so when it comes to schooling kids.
Yeah,
I'm like, I was not a great student. My wife was. I'm like, that's totally your domain.
Yep. What was the conversation like when you're making, you know, in the last year when you're making changes, starting the foundation, starting the fund? You know, was there like, you know, a lot of times when you change careers, there's a gap in income or pay, and you got to get, you know, getting your spouse on board and going through that process. Talk to me about the transition and what that was like at home.
So that was stressful. I mean, I had been in the process of changing my business over for about a year at that point. And, you know, figuring out, okay, whose tuition payments are due, what bills are due, what credit card can I let go a few more days before I actually have to make a payment. People call that credit card roulette.
Been there. Yep. So, that's a fun game every once in a while.
Yeah. I don't envy anybody that has to play it. I don't ever want to play it again. But yeah, it's a struggle. And I think you know, if it weren't for my wife, I would have went crazy a long time ago.
Gotcha.
And my wife, you know, likes to remind me every now and then, you know, I'm the only person in the world who could put up with your BS. I'm like, you're absolutely right.
Tell me about that BS a little bit. What's she putting up with?
Oh man, I got a lot of it.
Well, what comes along with, again, so a lot of the BS that I take home is just baggage and weight that I carry. You know, a leader identifies themselves. A leader stands up and says, "I'm him," and a leader carries a lot of weight and baggage for other people. You know, that's kind of the job. You know, a good leader is leading from the front and pulling people if you have to. So talk to me a little bit about what some of that baggage might look like for you guys. Because again, 7 kids, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah. So you rewind a clock probably about 5 years ago. I was in a really bad place, and we'd been struggling for years, and I was bringing a lot of that baggage home with me.
Yeah.
And bringing it into the house. And it's kind of like, you know, it's like, you know, a couple of my coaches have said, when dad's home, dad sets the tone.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I did not set a good tone.
Got it.
And so, you know, I wasn't the best leader of my home. And I was almost at a breaking point. And a lot of that fell on my wife's shoulders.
Got it.
So I mean, she's carried through our family through more struggles than probably we ever give her credit for.
Same, and I didn't realize for a long time how much I was putting on my wife's shoulders, just because that was the only place I felt I could go to event or, and just work through some things. And it wasn't the best place to do that, because I found out she had limits to what she had, her own things her own baggage she was carrying, and eventually you tip the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually you tip the scale. So knowing who those people are in your life that you can go to, and like I was saying it the other day, that like my dad is the only person that I can show weakness to in the world. Everybody else is depending on me to lead. So my father is the only person on earth that I can call and be weak to, right? But once I finally acknowledged that, I could place it where it needed to be placed. And that was the most important thing, is though I wasn't putting it on somebody that couldn't handle it. Right. We all need help, and we all need that person, right? That's kind of why you're wearing that shirt, and that's kind of how I met you, right? You found, shameless plug for Nick Alfano real quick, you found a guy doing something that is nothing short of incredible.
Yeah.
And that's actually how I met you. And that community alone is gold. Talk to me about how that community feeds you and how that's a place where you can.
Yeah. So my journey to the program actually started probably about a year and a half, 2 years before I joined the program. So I was literally like doing my normal shitty, couch potato dad routine when I came home. Mm-hmm. Going to get something to eat, going sitting on the couch and watch TV or scrolling. And I had this Instagram ad from Kyle Carnahan at Superhuman Fathers. Was talking about, get in shape, be a better husband, be a better father. And I had a phone call with him, and he was like, yeah, this is what our program costs. He goes, I'm like, dude, I can't pay that. He goes, oh, well, you finance it for him. I'm like, dude, I'm not going to get financed. I started this lawsuit 5 years ago, and it has like wrecked us. Mm-hmm. And he goes, dude, don't worry about it. Everybody gets, I'm like, all right. 3 minutes later, I'm like, yeah, dude, it didn't happen. He goes, really? Nobody gets denied. I was like, well, I did. He goes, all right. He goes, like, what can you afford? I gave him a number, and he was like, cool, good enough. I'm gonna put you with my brother. We're gonna start getting you right. And I was 220 at that point. Mm. So,
do you have pictures of that? When you were heavy?
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna need those.
Yeah,
we're gonna need those. I remember we're gonna need those.
So I was about 220 at that point, and like one of the first steps was like just getting yourself physically right. And he put me with his brother. And I remember his brother was like the ultimate hype man. Ryan, his name's Ryan Carnahan. He runs Dadland now. And he was like, dude, you're just like me. You're 6'1", you're about this. He goes, I was you, dude. I was just like you, dude. He goes, man, dude, I'm going to do everything to help you get fit. I'm like, this dude's over the top.
Yeah.
But it was great because that was right what I needed. So we started like programming macros. And he was like, all right, you got to find a workout. We're going to program workouts for you. And like the next week, I started like waking up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, like eating the same thing, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it took about a month, and weight started to come off. Mm-hmm. I went from 220 down to like 168 at my lowest.
Wow.
So, and then, started like really trying to like work on that switch when you come home.
Yeah. What do you weigh right now, by the way?
Right now I'm at like 192, 195.
All right. You look good. You look good, man. Like, I mean, gosh, I'm 180 and you're taller than me. So
yeah. So, really wanted to work in my business. And one of the like weekly calls we had as a group was Alfano coming on and talking about the program and, what he had accomplished in business and stuff like that. And I was like, I need to talk to that guy. Mm-hmm. So, we started talking, first event he had, we were like going on vacation as a family for the first time in like 5 years. Next event he had, my wife was having back surgery.
Oh, wow.
And like finally the one in February came up, and I actually got a credit card. I got another credit card to continue the roulette game, mm-hmm. To pay for that meeting. Mm-hmm. For me and my son to go.
It was a great investment, wasn't it?
Best investment ever made.
There it is. You're welcome, Nick Alfano. That's a great. I mean, seriously, dude, that's a great testimonial, and I agree with you. Which is why he's been here so many times. He uses the studio, and why I love to go speak at his events, man, because I believe in it.
Yeah,
I believe in everything that they're doing. It's great. Are you ready to take your brand digital? At HitLab Creative, we don't just make content. We build your digital foundation from the ground up. So whether you're launching a podcast, creating scroll-stopping social media content, or building a website that actually converts, we connect all the dots. Podcast production, CRM systems, content strategy, data analytics, branding, it's all under one roof. Because in today's world, content without strategy, it's just noise. And you're here to make an impact. So if you're ready to launch smarter, grow faster, and create with a purpose, it's time to team up with the HitLab. Visit hitlabstudio.com/studio-time and let's build something that lasts. Because the HitLab is where digital strategy meets data-driven content creation. All right, so hold on a minute. Because I got to connect some dots here. So I've heard about all the times that you battled through failure, all the financial stress that you and your family overcame. So, and now you're the founder of a foundation and a scholars fund. All right. So talk to me about the lessons that you learned in the money with financial literacy and how all this became possible. Because I know that you guys are. I would say financial windfall kind of comes to mind, are the words that with any time that people are working with you. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about how you bridge that gap, because that's what I want people to understand is this stuff can happen really fast. Yeah. You can change. Like, when I go on podcasts, a lot of people want to know what I was doing in my 20s and 30s. I'm like, losing. We don't need to talk about that. Like everything I got today is since my 36th birthday. In less than 10 years, we've accomplished a lifetime of things, but I wasted lifetimes to get here. You know what I'm saying? So like all the stuff that we're talking about, the success that you had, it feels like it's in a very small window. It feels like you're just getting started.
It really is. I mean, so for example, and we just brought this up on a call the other day. When I started the program, the newest company I have, we weren't doing $10,000 of revenue a month. And now August 1st, we're moving into a house that costs over $10,000 a month. And it's like triple the size of the house we're in now. And my wife and my kids are like really excited. But yeah, it was a lot of a mind shift and really discipline on, I would say, not just work ethic, because work ethic was always there, but it's more focus and, worrying about shit that matters instead of, worrying about a lot of crap that really doesn't matter.
Facts.
So being more clear about, who you were going after, what you were doing, and more the change in mission from making a bunch of money to supporting the cause, but also being just both financially and emotionally invested was something that I never really had before in my career. Mm-hmm. Like, we giving money to charity. When I made a lot of money, I give a lot of money away to charities. This cause, that cause, but it wasn't our own. It wasn't like something I was focused on. It was like, oh yeah, that's a great cause. Write them a check. Oh yeah, that's a great cause. We'll go to this gala. Stuff like that. And I never let emotion in business before. I was never like the emotional story I tell now with everybody I meet. That would have never happened. Mm-hmm. I was strictly, facts, figures. This is why it makes sense. And I might try to connect with somebody on a cause or something like that, but there wasn't really that emotional connection there.
Right.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things I changed, and getting rid of the negativity. So, because when I say I got a lot of BS, a lot of BS is the bitching I do.
Sure.
And that just comes from a lifetime of training of being around people who complain about everything but do nothing about it.
So the big shift for me and my family happened when we never had a problem making money. We had a problem having money. Okay. So making it was never the issue. Revenue wasn't the issue. It was knowing how to manage it and use it as a tool, like, so that money could go out and generate more money. so that money could work as hard as I do, because now there's two of us working. Mm-hmm. So I was like, the moment we figured out that every dollar was like a general, and I'm sending them out and they can't come back unless they bring another one with them. Right. That was the whole thing. I remember in 2022 or 2023 was the first year that we made more money not working than we did working. And that was when portfolio and stuff, the businesses we invested in, the people we invested in were reaping great dividends, right? So, dude, I've interviewed 1,500 college graduates in the last 5 years for a job, and 1,500 out of 1,500 roughly, they would tell me all the skills they had, that they learned, all the things they learned, and I would ask them, how do you make money doing that? And that was where they didn't have an answer. They had all this skill set, but they didn't know how to make money doing it. Financial literacy was what changed that for me. There was a Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Mm-hmm. Changed my life. It all of a sudden, it's a second language that everybody needs to learn.
Yeah.
And skills, the skills you learn are directly there's a correlation with how you, your skill set grows the more you know how to handle the money. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing. And like, we all come through basically the same school curriculum. So we're all in the same place when we go. And then it's higher learning past that's so important and needed, So like, you go to work to earn money, to provide for you and others. But it's more than that. Like the money's just a tool. Brad always says, if you take a bad person and give them money, they're a worse person. If you take a good person and give money, they're a better person.
Yep.
Right? So money just amplifies who you are. Well, does it though? Does it always? Is that a problem that you help solve? Financial literacy? Like who is it that you normally work with? Is it people that have lots of money? Is it people that just came into money?
So my normal person I work with basically makes a lot of money, pays a lot of taxes.
Okay.
Like that's my ideal client.
All right. And you know what? We don't like paying taxes, so there it is.
So for a number of years, a lot of my clients came from CPAs. Mm-hmm. And I would teach CPAs, especially like in the insurance world, you sell a lot of insurance when there's a tax advantage. Mm. So I would teach them a couple strategies that they never heard about before or never really explored before, and were perfect for wealthy clients. Mm. And then they started sending me some of their wealthy clients.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. And then like financial literacy, I think has always been a roadblock for a lot of people. Like I even see it in my own kids. My wife, when she worked for the Federal Reserve Bank, she actually started the first financial literacy program for school age kids. Mm-hmm. And like she would go out to high schools and give talks about, here's how our checking account works. Here's what happens to a check when you write it and give it to somebody.
God bless her. Yeah.
Here's where it goes. And I was just amazed at the stories she would tell me.
Yeah.
When the one I remember the most is she went to a high school and she was talking about how we went off the gold standard a long time ago. And the teacher, been teaching at the school a while, not a dummy, was like, I didn't know that. I'm not really sure if that's correct. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It just tells you like what a void there is in the education system about that, about like financial literacy.
The person that taught me business in school had never run a business before. Ain't that a problem?
Yeah. So it's funny. My second son, Max, smart kid, got a scholarship to Loyola. We're in a car one day and he's a philosophy major. So I'm like, okay.
What is that?
Don't know what you're going to do with that. But anyway, we're riding in the car one day and he's like, because his track was kind of pretty low, so it made sense at the time. And he goes, Dad, if I take these 3 more classes and these 3 more classes, I could get 2 minors. He goes, which one should I minor in? And he listed me off and I'm like, business and economics.
That's right.
He goes, well, yeah, that's only 4 more classes. I'll get 2 minors. I'm like, great.
Now we're talking.
First economics class he takes, he comes home, he's about probably halfway into it. And he goes, I'm starting to understand all the stuff you've been talking about for the past couple of years now that I'm taking this course. I'm like, thank God.
So what you're telling me is the hole that's in the education system is the parents are not echoing what they're not supplementing or supporting what they're learning in school. Is that kind of what I mean? Like that was the advantage for your son is he heard this stuff and he was able to take what the professor said and associate it and apply it to things that he had heard his dad say.
Right. But very few kids ever take that ever take an economics class.
That's right.
I remember in the Army, like part of officer training was how to balance a checkbook. Part of training was how to manage your finances, because you were going to be in charge of 30 other guys that had no clue.
Yeah.
And we're going to come to you going, "Oh, Lieutenant, what does this mean?"
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Even the problem with like the testing and stuff. So like when my family and I go to church, we all hear the same sermon. So the first thing that happens is, because I'm like, look, man, like you go to, like the reason that you went to church the first time should be the reason that you're going today. That reason shouldn't technically change, right? But what bothers me about it is it just turns into what people do on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Right. And it's no longer, they're not going there to get fed, the reason they went there in the first place. Right. So I think you go to church first to get to maybe help yourself, but then you convert that, you shift into, then now that you've been healed, now you're in charge of healing the next person that comes in, and you replicate yourself. Right. So, but it never fails. And this is the way people learn. Every Sunday we get in the car, I look at my wife, my son, what'd y'all get out of that message, and how are you going to use it? And most Sundays, they tell me what the pastor said. And I'm like, I didn't ask what the pastor said. I asked what you got out of it and how you're going to use it. And I think most kids, when they hear their professor talk, they can tell you what he said, but they don't know how to use it.
They don't know how to use it.
That's right. That's right. The application is everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. Are you ready to transform your business and unlock new revenue streams? At Processing First, we empower our partners with cutting-edge payment solutions and unparalleled support. We're more than just a one-size-fits-all payment processor. We're relationship-driven. By leveraging our extensive network of banking partners, we match you with the ideal bank to ensure that you receive the most competitive rates and deliver an exceptional experience for both you and your customers. Join a network that values transparency, efficiency, and growth. With our state-of-the-art POS systems and competitive processing rates, you can offer your clients the best in payment technology while boosting your own profitability. Why choose Processing First? Innovative solutions. Stay ahead with our advanced payment processing tools. Dedicated support. Our team is here to assist you every step of the way. Lucrative opportunities. Enhance your income by providing top-tier services to your clients. Don't settle for less. Partner with Processing First and take your business to the next level. Visit processingfirst.com to learn more and join our growing community of successful partners. Isn't it crazy, though, that you go to school for 13 years minimum, most of the time 17 or more, and you never learned how to apply all that stuff yet?
All the stuff you learned, right.
Gosh. And you're expected, it took you 17 years to learn it, but you're expected to learn how to apply it.
Like that.
It's crazy. That's the gap I like solving. That's what I'm passionate about. Because the knowledge is in there. It's just getting them to spit it out in a way that helps people and solves problems. Mm-hmm. The problems that skill you learned actually solves, how do you solve that problem? How does it solve that problem for that person? Yeah,
and it's like, it's funny sometimes how that works, because I can tell my kids something 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they were sitting at a lunch with my two boys, and I'm explaining to them, how to start an LLC, the reason you have a business. Mm-hmm. Even if you have a W-2 job, you still want to own your own business because you get the right shit off.
Come on, let's go.
And we're sitting here at lunch, and I just kind of shut up. I let Leo start explaining it all to him. And both of my sons, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Come on.
And I'm sitting here, and I'm trying not to say anything. We finished lunch.
All they hear is clean your room and take out the trash.
And I'm like, I've told him the same thing 50 times. And he goes, I know. He goes, it's the same with my kids.
My dad says the same thing. He's like, Nick, you're the same. You can't, your kids, all he hears, the same mouth that says take out the trash and you shouldn't have did that, isn't as prone to listen to something that's going to help them as coming from somebody else, because they have to hear it all from you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the messenger is very, very, very important. So, dude, it's like, so you help people that have a lot of money, that need to know what to better do with that money, so to keep more of their money, but to also take that money and help people, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the, like, so if you're if you're just getting into money, or let's say, I'm 30 years old. I just broke 6 figures a year for the first time. It costs pretty much most of what we need to live off of. However, we just bought a home or whatever it is. But like, I just know I need to work with you, Matt. What is that like? What's a situation like that look like for the folks that don't have money they need to not hide, but put somewhere else?
Well, for me, it really depends. Like my main target, main people I work with are business owners.
Okay.
So I have a pretty successful business. I could tell you one of my best clients 7 years ago. He was about in that position, and I started doing some just kind of friendly conversations with him. Talked to him about consulting, and he told me his business model, and I could look at him, and I could look at the business, and I could see where it's going to like. Dude, in 5 years, you're going to be here. He goes, yeah, right. I'm like, dude, I know you don't see this yet, but I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
I said, these are the things you need to start working at. Well, oddly enough, his business partner didn't think I was worth the money. I wasn't charging very much anyway. And so our 1-year contract ended. 5, 6 years later.
Yep.
I reconnected with him again about my new company, and he goes, man, you were right. I was like, really? About what? He goes, you said I was going to be here in 5 years. And he goes, man, I just didn't see it. Yeah. So somebody who's looking like long term, like what they both want to make an impact immediately, but also really have a long term lasting impact, like legacy.
Yep.
That's the kind of people that I like to work with. The ones that are thinking, not just what's in it for me now, but what's in it for my future generations.
So let's break it down for a minute. All right. So I'm going to take some notes here. So let's say we'll stay. There are a lot of exceptions to the rule, but I would say it's going to take most people till around 30 to become even just financially stable, right? Because they probably have got married, bought a home, or had kids between, 18 and 30 probably at some point. So those are things that always set you back no matter what. I remember the first year my son was born and we didn't have a pot to piss in. Like I had to keep track of everything. And I can tell you, he cost about $20,000 the first year he was on earth. You know what I mean? So, and I know that because I didn't have it. That's why I know. But now just his summer baseball team costs $7,500. You know what I mean? It's like, and the grocery bills through the roof. He's crazy. I mean, I think we were doing the math now. He costs around $75,000 a year is what he costs the household, which is crazy if you think about it with school and food and tuition and everything else, all the things that he does. So when you're, let's say 30 to 40, 40, 50, and we're talking averages, and then 50 plus, the people that are 30 to 40, maybe they're just becoming kind of stable with their new family, their home. They're looking to grow, diversify, and whatnot. What would conversations look like? How would you work with people like that? And then we'll go to 40 and 50, and then we'll go to the 50 plus, based on just averages of how the most people that you encounter, right?
Yeah. A lot of your 30 to 40 year olds, if they're in business for themselves, and they had a really successful business and are on the right track, maybe that's somebody I can work with. But a lot of my clients are probably over 40 to 65, 40 to 65. So I've had some success and are now approaching the higher tax brackets.
So 30 to 40, it's almost like if there was a place, I don't know, maybe a short digital course that they could get from you that they could be doing to prep so that when they hit that 40th birthday, they're ready to rock and roll.
Develop a course like that.
Yeah. So that way, that's not your, the avatar or the customer that you really built this for, but what you're doing is you're grooming them to become that because they'd be crazy to not do that. Right.
Yeah. I would say like, especially in that age group, because my oldest son is not too far from that age group. It's like, really about managing your money, about making it, but also managing it.
I got an idea.
Starting to save.
Can I tell you an idea? And you can shoot it down.
Sure.
You don't have to use it. Just don't shoot it down publicly. I'm just kidding. So, we mentioned, I love community calls. I think it's a great way to feed people that want to be fed. You find the people that continue to show up for stuff like that. Because again, people, that pay attention, right? So it's easy to not show up for something that you don't have skin in the game on, right? It's easy to not show up or quit something that was cheap. It's not when you got a lot of skin in the game, when you've paid for it. Retention happens on the front end, I think, right? So, but, I would say, how awesome would it be? What type of world would you live in if, let's just say, by their 40th birthday, they had gone through your course, they'd done all the steps, they'd already formed their LLC, they'd already done certain things to put the foundation in order, so that when you got your hands with them, you weren't hands on them, you weren't starting off in neutral, you were starting in third gear or second gear, and they could pay, $149 a month to get a monthly call with you in a group setting, where they also get to be a part of a group and a community. And now they're feeding off each other and they're helping each other out. Maybe they get to that threshold quicker than 40 because they know what everybody does and they know what everybody needs and they can help each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, because the mission of your company, you're doing so much for so many people and that foundation and everything. So like, I love the community thing. I watch Brad Lee do it with his, with some of his online communities where some of it's a monthly call, or he even does weekly ones, but man, he'll get 1,000 people on that sucker.
No way.
Oh yeah.
I had never considered that before.
And like, because people but you got to get a little skin in the game to show up, and you can limit it. I did a mastermind. I called it a mastermind. But basically it was a free thing. And I brought in a different guest every month. And it was around personal branding. And we were just really getting the HitLab off the ground. And I was like, I need feedback from people. I need to know where they're struggling. I need to know why they're struggling. Is it the same place as I struggled? Is it different? It was as much for me as it was for them, because I was hearing all the places that they were running into problems and all the things that would set them back. It was like the IP that I was able to capture and turn into what we do today was priceless for me. And now we're repositioning that whole thing and going to relaunch it at the end of the year for 2026, which I'm extremely excited about, because now we've got all this feedback, we got all this stuff. So now I've got almost 2 communities. I've got people that came through the fire first and came out better. And now we've got another new set right there. And it's almost like that's how you capture people. And then you find out who's serious about it and who's successful. And then when you get them,
right, really help them take off.
Did we just come up with something brilliant right on the air right here? Did that just happen?
It's a damn good idea.
Did that just happen? Not to mention, it's great content. It's a great source for content too. It's a great source for content, but it's 30 minutes or an hour, and that's it. And it's all done virtually. People just log on, and it's you.
You can do it once a month.
Absolutely. It could be as often as you need it be. It could be once a quarter. Whatever the community lets you know, and it feeds you as much as it feeds them. So if you want more of it, so do they probably. That's what I learned. Yeah,
I love, like, one of my strengths is I'm really good at explaining, like probably over explaining, which is one of the things I had to learn, like with sales, is that, don't vomit everything you know.
Yeah.
But give them what they need.
That's right.
Tell them what they need. Tell them what it does. Tell them what it does for them. Tell them what they need to know to make a decision.
Well, again, I got a 16-year-old at home. I can promise you he could find $98 a month or whatever it costs to be on a call like that to learn this stuff, because he reads these books. He's reading all the books that I read. That's a part of what we're doing at home. Like, he reads those, we talk about them. Because the greatest gift my parents gave me, I talk about this a lot. I mean, they gave me everything, but the most powerful gift they gave me that we use today was, I guess I was 34, and I went to them for help, and they were like, "This is the last time. Don't come back." And oddly enough, that's when our life changed. That's when we started building what we have today. The moment we didn't have that safety net. So I don't want my son to have that. Every generation needs to get better than the next. Each generation of people that you bring in, that you manage their stuff and you help them out, needs to be better than the previous one. Every generation has to get better. I need to be a better version of Hyder Man than my dad was, and my son needs to be better than me. Your dad's the only person that wants to see you be better than him, that wants to see his son be better. Like, that's it, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, my son would be all about a community call like that. I can just tell you, especially if you had a teen division. How cool is that? So
I tell you what, one of the most amazing teens I ran into was the first time I spoke at Holy Cross, and I hadn't been associated, done nothing with the school in decades, and they had a the day when they have professionals come in and talk about their business and stuff like that. And so I went to talk there, dressed just like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that made a statement in itself. And one of these kids came out to me afterwards, and he goes like, "Oh, Mr. Theriot, can I get your number?" He goes, "I have questions." I was like, "Sure, man, blah, blah." He goes, "Well, I formed an LLC. I got this grass cutting business, and I'm starting to do landscaping, and you know, I'm close to breaking 6 figures by the end of this year."
Incredible.
And I'm like, "How old are you?" He goes, "Oh, I just turned 18 last month."
Incredible.
And I was like, "You're probably one of the most impressive seniors I've met."
Mm-hmm. It's awesome, isn't it?
And yeah, and so guys he's at LSU now studying business. Still has his side business.
Mm-hmm.
But I talked to a couple of the counselors, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we got about 4, 5, 6 kids that have $50,000 trucks that they paid for in the parking lot from the one-man businesses they started themselves."
Dude, you might be onto something there. I don't know. I know that I'd be interested to hear more about it for sure. Hey, pardon this quick interruption, but it's a good one. You're listening to this ad right now, which means someone else could be listening to your ad in this exact spot. That's right. If you've got a business, a brand, a product, a podcast, or even just a message you want people to hear, you should be advertising right here on the Hitstreak. This is the moment, the placement, the audience, and you're already hearing how powerful it is. So don't just listen to ads, run one. Go to nickhyder.com/contact-me or click the link in the show notes to get started. Let's put your brand in the spotlight right where it belongs. All right, so tell me about the, let's say the 40 to 50s, the ones that have made it, the ones that need you, it's time to go to work. It's time to start expanding. It's time to start building portfolios. It's time to start giving back. It's time to start doing all those things. Talk to me about what that experience looks like. So let's say Nick Hyder walks in the door right now and is like, "Matt, let's do this."
So 40 to 50-year-olds, essentially they have a business, and the first thing I'm kind of starting with is like, okay, where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
So where are you at? What's your experience been thus far?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have an idea of where they're coming from. And then of course the next question is, okay, where you want to go? Well, make as much as I can, as far as I can. I'm like, I quantify that. We're not going from 0 to $1 billion in a month. And just really make them start seeing that, things are done in phases, things are done in steps. But really have a plan, not only for their business, but also their family. And what a lot of people, I think, make the mistake in is they try to put this Chinese firewall between their business and their personal life. And for me, I'm always like, there's a lot of things in your personal life that'll benefit your business, and a lot of things in your business life that'll benefit your personal life. And I remember one of the first clients I taught this to. Guy was a contractor, early 40s. Daughter just started going to college, and he was basically paying after taxes $2,000 a month. So he's paying about $400, $500, $600 in taxes to give his daughter money to pay for school and college. And I told him, like, it's probably a better way to structure this. I said, "Does your daughter do any work for the company?" He goes, "Oh, well, yeah, she comes and helps me out all the time." I'm like, all right. And I always use this left pocket, right pocket analogy. I said, right now, you're paying her out of the right pocket. I said, that's your after-tax pocket. How about, instead of just giving her a check, how about we make her an employee of the company?
Mm-hmm.
And now you can expense that $2,000 you're giving her a month,
mm-hmm.
and you don't have to pay your income tax rate on it. It goes down to your daughter's rate.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "You can do that?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, man. You got to have good people in your corner.
Well, and the thing about it, I was like, "You never discussed this with your accountant before?" He goes, "Well, I never thought to ask."
Jeez.
And yeah, a lot of people don't realize your most important meeting with your accountant, your CPA, is the last quarter. It's not April. It's not February. It's the last quarter. So you can prepare.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Basically, what I'm hearing is that you teach people how to use their capital to change culture.
Mm-hmm.
That sound about right?
Yep. That's the favorite thing to do. Yeah, once I get them there personally, it's about, okay, your family's set, your kids are set. What's the impact what impact do you want to make?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm looking for people that want to do big things or have a big impact.
Let's go.
So
I heard Brooke Thomas, great keynote speaker. She said from the stage one time, she said she defines the word impact as when you take your God-given uniqueness and apply it to the marketplace. I was like, dang, that's good.
That's good.
That's a good one. All right, so let's talk about how people can work with you, right? So first of all, online, they can find you at hsfnola.com, on Instagram at Matthew the Riot. All right. Now, talk to me a little bit about how folks can get started, what it takes to happen. Like, people are sitting out there right now listening, saying, "Is he talking to me?" How do you let them know I'm talking to you?
Well, you can go through if you're looking for do more philanthropy, I'd say go through the Highland Scholars Fund website, book a call with us. You use matttheriot.com and book a call with us.
Yep.
There's two ways you can find us online. And then I would say the first thing it starts with is a conversation.
Yeah. So
who are you? Where are you at? Where are you trying to go? Mm-hmm. And if you're going to violate the first rule or not.
Got it. So basically the folks that are hearing this are saying, hey man, I'm interested. So there's some folks that are just going to write this off right now and be like, I'm not, he's not talking to me. I'm not that. And that's okay. First of all, I'd say check yourself and give them a call. But why wouldn't everybody want to book a call with you to figure out where they're at in their journey, if they're qualified versus if they're not, when they might be qualified, how far they have to go. It's like moving here from California. I might have been in 6th grade there, but I might only be in 5th grade here. But they got to figure that out. Where was I at before they tell me where to go, before they assign me a teacher? They got to know where I was last at, right? Where I was at in my journey to know what comes next.
Right.
So what's the fastest and best way for them to, so they book a call with you? What happens next? How long do they need to do that with? Walk me through the process here. This is fascinating stuff.
So a lot of clients, it depends on the client. I'll have a call. We'll have calls that'll be maybe 30 minutes.
Yep.
If it's less than 15 minutes, we're probably not gonna work together.
Okay. Not yet.
Yeah. You got a ways to go. But I'd say 30-minute call, I can pretty much assess where somebody's at, and also if they're being truthful or not, and just kind of get a gauge of what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. And really where they're at in their understanding, I think, is the biggest part. Because, a lot of people have been in business for a lot of years, and they're still paying way too much in taxes. And they don't know they're paying too much because they don't know to ask. And I found that with, kids that get out of medical school and go from making an intern salary at $30,000 a year to making $300,000 or $400,000 a year as a surgeon or something like that.
Yeah.
They don't know how the game is played.
Right.
And it's a game.
Yes.
And I always ask, one thing I like to ask clients, I'm like, all right, I'll explain to them and they'll go, is that legal? I'm like, well, in the IRS code, this code, that code, that code, that code, it says it is.
Yep.
And I like to ask them, who writes the tax code? And they're like, oh, well, the government. I'm like, no, specifically, Congress. I said, yeah, politicians. Politicians are great with taxing the hell out of you, but there's always a loophole for them.
Yeah.
You just got to know it, and you can use it too.
Kind of like Trump said on that first debate with Hillary when they were talking about him not paying taxes. He was like, no, I don't. And I use the same loopholes all her donors use the whole time, right? That's the thing. It is there. And you just assume your accountant is studying all that stuff and current on all the changes at all times, and they know all the loopholes or the angles and everything else. We learned the same thing in insurances. It was like, man, that the insurance industry, health insurance industry was changing. The landscape was changing night and day, almost every night and day. And if we weren't directly in tune with it, of what's going on and the changes and how it affects things and so on and so forth, then we weren't as good of as an advisor. When we did that, we didn't know how to play that game and use things to our advantages for the reasons that they were built to do so.
Right.
It's not cheating. right? It's just taking advantage of what's there for you, right? There's a spoon sitting right here, or I can try to drink my soup, eat my soup with my fingers. If I use the spoon, it's going to be a lot better for me.
A lot more efficient.
Absolutely. So, that's cool, man. Well, I know that you guys for the Scholars Fund, I know your first big milestone that you're chasing is 100 scholarships.
Yeah.
Right, 100 scholarships. What's it going to take to get there?
Maybe another year, couple of years.
How many people? How many people getting involved? Do you think?
Well, let's see. Well, okay, so we got about 100 plus accounts right now, which equals about 20 households. Well, 20, 30 households. And with that, we went from 1 scholarship last year to 9. We're actually funding our 9th scholarship this year.
Damn, that's incredible. What is a scholarship? That's probably pretty important. Like I know there's one of the organizations that my dad and I support. We give out a lot of scholarships a year, but they're just $2,000 or $3,000.
Yeah, so a minimum scholarship for us is $6,000.
Okay.
One of the schools we're working with asked us to make it at the 50% level, so the parents are still have skin in the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, fair enough. I was planning on doing 3. We're going to do 6.
Okay.
So that's where our standards are right now. And this year so far, our clients gave about $70,000.
Wow.
And we have a couple of people that we have on full scholarships, because of recent tragedy in their family. So that's kind of where it's at. So what's going to take to get there? I would say us doubling the business in 2 more years. We'll be there.
That's awesome. And that's where the foundation, your foundation kind of like that's kind of feeding the Scholars Fund, right? So that's the big thing. That's how the synergy behind all of it. Yeah. That's kind of how it all works, right? So if I was reaching out to you on behalf of the Scholars Fund, you would say, well, let's get you in the foundation to get you rocking and rolling so that you're prepared and healthy enough to do that, to actually support that scholarship fund, that Scholar Fund. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, dude, like it's super fascinating. Like, I can't believe you're still in your first calendar year doing this. I can't wait to talk to you this time next year to figure out how far you guys have gone. Cause it's going to be like, we're probably going to be like, dude, I can't believe like we were so far into the game then, but looking back, like we were nothing
just
at that time.
Scratching the surface.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because like, I mean, you guys got a great team behind you.
Yeah, that's probably, and this year that has been probably one of the most dramatic changes and probably the most important changes now that I'd never had before in my career, is I actually have a team. With Leo and Armand coming on, it's like we can and having the ability to afford the resources. It's like, I know, we had like a 6, 7, 8x growth the last 18 months. If we don't double or triple in the next year, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, for sure.
I've done something wrong. So yeah, having great people with you is all important. And one of the great things that I did this past month is I made those guys go through the program too.
That's awesome.
So we're all aligned. We're all on the same page.
That's
we're all heading in the same direction.
Well, dude, like, access is key. All right. Access is everything. And that's the one word thing. That's a one word problem that you solve for people better than anybody, is just you're creating access. You're getting them access to rooms that they need to be in, to people that they need to be in, to people that need their help. Mm-hmm. Right. Which is absolutely phenomenal. Folks, like, I know that they're going to start seeing a lot more of you online. I can guarantee that, as a matter of fact. When this comes out, you guys are going to see them in droves, right? So, folks, make sure you're keeping up with them on socials at Matthew the Riot. That's it's in the show notes, but it's Matthew spelled with 2 T's and then the Riot. That's it. It's pretty easy to not mess up. You know what I'm saying? So, Matt, is there anything else that you want to touch before as we bring this sucker to a close?
Oh, good question.
I mean, you were great, dude. Like, this has been phenomenal. Like, the biggest thing is like, people just need to know that this exists. Awareness is going to be huge for you. The more people that find out about this, it's going to they're going to come in droves. It's going to just like money actually does. Everything's going to compound for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that was what Albert Einstein was the most phenomenal formula he'd ever seen, was the theory of compounding interest.
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah, and that's something I look forward to month after month. It's just how many more kids, every new client is another scholarship.
That's right.
That's the focus now.
Finding the right health plan can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Backed by over 12 years of experience and more than 20 national and local awards, Team Hyder is here to help you navigate your options and choose a plan that fits your family's needs and your budget. So whether you're looking for individual coverage, family plans, or even Medicare options, Team Hyder brings expert guidance with heart. Visit teamhyder.com today to schedule your consultation and get the coverage that you deserve. Brother, it's an honor and a privilege to have you, to know you, to see what you're doing, just to have insight and access into the community, and anything that we can do to help. We always want to step up if it's possible. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I appreciate that. If you asked me a year ago, would I be sitting in a room with Nick Hyder doing a podcast, I'm like, for what? That's
right. That's right. Yet here you are, and you're about to start doing a ton of them, right? So folks, all my podcasters out there, man, your guests matter, and you need Matt. You need Matt to come in and talk about this stuff. He's gonna feed your community, and most importantly, he's gonna educate them. Because again, financial literacy is everything. You got to know how to you got to know how to use your tools, man, or else they're worthless. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you got to know how to use those tools. Well, dude, congratulations on everything. Like, I'm grateful for the relationship. I'm grateful for knowing you. I'm grateful for you being here today. Truly, it's inspiring and it's awesome, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks.
Well, folks, check it out. The chairman and founder of the Matt Theriot Foundation and Highland Scholars Fund, Matt Theriot, hsfnola.com, online and on social at Matthew Theriot. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.